On the night between 15th and 16th of October 2022, the 21-year-old Tove Tönnies left the bar with two friends. On the way to her friend's place, she was talking on the phone with her boyfriend and everything seemed just fine. But after the phone call, Tove mysteriously disappeared. This case includes hate and jealousy taken to the extreme when Tove's own friends turn out to be the reason why she was gone. This is the case of Tove from Vetlanda. So hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Elin and on this channel I cover true crime cases that have occurred in the Nordic countries. There are no content warnings for this video, but the video will include graphic details, so if that's something that you don't want to watch, either click out of this video right now or skip forward whenever those parts come. This is a very recent case. As I said, it happened in the end of 2022 and it has been very big in the media, but I just want to say before I start the video that I mean absolutely no disrespect to anyone that I talk about in the video, and I mean no disrespect to Tove or Tove's family. I truly from the bottom of my heart hope that Tove's close ones are okay and surviving after what happened to Tove. With that being said, this case is going to be longer than usual, so let's get into the case that happened in Sweden. So Tove Tönnies was a 20-year-old girl from Vetlanda in Sweden where she also grew up. Tove was a regular girl with red curly hair and she was described as spontaneous, happy, and caring. Tove played football and also other sports, so she was a very active girl. At the time of the crime, she was studying to become a doctor in another city, but she had a break from her studies and came back to her hometown for a while. She was during this time working as a substitute teacher and she was well liked by everyone. Tove lived in an apartment with her boyfriend Albin, who she had been together with for about 1.5 years. So there are two other women that are important for this case, and they are called Maja Hellman and Johanna Jansson. They were 18 and 20 years old at the time of this case, and they both knew Tove from before. Maja and Johanna had no previous criminal records and they were described as sporty girls and even religious as they were both connected to the church. These girls were friends with each other as they had many pictures together and they had also been traveling and been to concerts together. So Johanna Jansson was a 20-year-old girl who was working in a school as an assistant. She was a horse girl who played piano and liked reading and writing. Johanna was pretty good in school and graduated high school just a couple of years before the case with very good grades. She had dreams of becoming an architect but was also having a break from her studies at the time. Johanna also had an apartment and lived a regular life, but she was partying a lot. She was described as having a lot of friends, but her friendships were often filled with drama and conflicts. So Maja Hellman was an 18-year-old girl who was still in high school and was described as having a hard time there as she was having a hard time keeping up her grades and also going through a hard time with herself, basically. Maja was also active with sports and played football and handball until she was 16 years old. She then started partying and drinking instead of doing sports. Maja had a learning disability, ADD, anxiety, and a hard time handling stress, and she also got medication for this. So these two girls, Maja and Johanna, had previously been in a conflict with Tove. Tove and Johanna became friends a couple of years back through mutual friends as they were basically in the same friend group. Tove and Johanna had a pretty turbulent friendship as there had been teenage conflicts, especially when it came to relations and guys. Basically, Johanna had a lot of opinions when it came to who Tove was hanging out with, and they therefore had a lot of arguments about this. But the arguments were not serious, and it was more like small teenage dramas. At some point, Tove and Johanna kind of stopped hanging out with each other and also were not really in contact with each other, but they did have a mutual group of friends that they were sometimes hanging out with, so basically they sometimes went to events together. Maya, on the other hand, did not really know Tove that well, and she describes them as being more party buddies, but she was very close to Johanna. So I hope that that was not too confusing. Basically, Tove was not really hanging out with Johanna or Maja, but Maja and Johanna were really close friends, but they all knew each other. So on the 15th of October, a Saturday night, these girls were all at the same party place or bar in Vetlanda. This has been described as the only place to party in the city, and people go there to play pool or drink or just hang out and have a good time. For Maya and Johanna, the night started as a normal Saturday night. They had been drinking at Johanna's place with some other people before going to this bar together. Tove had first been with her boyfriend at home that night and decided to go to this bar as some other friends were going there. And she had been talking with people in the bar, and people described her as being a bit restless, uncomfy, or worried. During the night, a conflict that the girls had previously had somehow started again. It's clear that at some point during the night, Johanna and Tove got into an argument after Tove said something to Johanna and basically Maja went in between them. This was around the time that the bar was closing, so around 1 o'clock, and Johanna claims that Tove hit her during this argument. At some point during the night, Tove sent a text message to her boyfriend saying that Johanna hit her, so it's not really clear who hit who, but there was some kind of physical argument. Johanna and Maya had then been waiting outside of the bar and planned to trick Tove into coming home with them so that they could get revenge by lightly hitting her. So Johanna started talking to Tove when Tove came out of the bar and said that it would feel good if they could talk about what happened between them that night. So somehow they all decided to walk home to Johanna's apartment after this, and in Tove's eyes, this was to solve the conflict. Johanna and Maya had actually been talking about hitting Tove already on the way to the apartment, but they did not get a good moment for that, and Johanna described the walk home as pleasant and fun, and they actually had a good time. At 1:41 that night, Tove got a phone call from her boyfriend, and this was the last sign of Tove alive. During this phone call, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, and everything just seemed normal and fine. So after this point, Maya and Johanna's story started to differ from each other. Johanna's first version, and yes, there is another one coming later on in the case, was that they had been at her place talking, and then Tove left the apartment and everything was okay between them. After this, she helped Maya as Maya had been feeling bad from drinking and throwing up, and then Maya left to go to her mom's place. Maya, on the other hand, said that she was feeling bad, so she just went to sleep while Tove and Johanna had been talking. She described Tove leaving the apartment after this, and no violence had occurred. But neighbors told a completely different story. Neighbors described hearing bounces coming from the apartment that night, and one neighbor even walked to the apartment and rang the doorbell. No one opened, but he heard even more bounces when standing outside of the door. He went back to his apartment and he then heard someone leaving the apartment, so he came out from his place and he saw Johanna. He then asked her what was going on, and she answered that her friend was feeling bad from drinking and lost her balance. Johanna then said that she was gonna go to McDonald's to get some food, and the neighbor offered to drive her since he was scared that she would start drunk driving. When they left from the apartment complex, he reacted to Tove's bike being parked outside of the building, which means that Tove was still in the apartment. The neighbor also saw Johanna picking up a bag from Tove's bike that was parked outside before going back to her apartment. So around 6 in the morning, Tove's boyfriend contacted Johanna to ask where Tove was, as he had not heard anything from her. During this call, Johanna said that she had just gotten out of the shower and that Tove left a long time ago. The next morning, Tove was reported missing and a big search for Tove started. Maya and Johanna were both arrested on Monday, so only a few days after Tove's disappearance, as they were both suspects in the case already. The 2nd of November 2022, after Tove had been missing for 2 weeks, her body was unfortunately found. Her body was located in a forest, but the forest has a sand road, so it's possible to drive there with a car. It is, however, a remote area, so it's an area that you have to know from beforehand to dump a body there. It's not like you just happen to come across it. The police at this point held a press conference where they said that they found this location after tracking the suspect's movements that night. So after the body was found, Maya and Johanna were again arrested, and this time on suspicion of murder. The night of the crime, a car was caught on security footage that was connected to one of these young girls. This was around 4 in the morning, driving out of Vetlanda towards the location where Tove's body was found, and around 6 in the morning, this car came back into town. The police suspected that Tove died that night at 2 to 2:45 a.m. Only 12 minutes before this, Tove was talking to her boyfriend and everything seemed fine. Investigation also showed that when Johanna's neighbor was driving Johanna, Tove's phone was also driving with them in the car. They knew this because Tove's phone had taken the same route, so for some reason Johanna had Tove's phone with her in the car. A mental evaluation was also done on both Johanna and Maya, and it showed that none of them suffer from any mental illness connected to the crime. At this point in time, both girls claimed that they were innocent, and Johanna actually said that she was grieving her dead friend and that her life was destroyed from being a suspect. From the investigation and from the trial, it was soon pretty clear what actually happened to Tove that night. So, Tove was not alive for a long time after arriving to Johanna's apartment. The abduction showed that Tove had been strangled to death, but what truly happened regarding this is not sure, as Johanna and Maya still to this day tells different stories. But their stories have, however, changed a lot from the previous ones. Johanna claims that they arrived at her apartment and did a house tour for Tove, as she had never been there before. When they arrived to the small bathroom, it was newly renovated, and Tove said here was not much to see, and Johanna had been very proud of this bathroom, so she did not like this comment at all. Tove then accidentally pushed Johanna when turning around, and Johanna got so angry, so she pulled Tove to the ground. Johanna then sat on top of Tove, and Tove screamed, "What are you guys doing?" And after that, she tried to strangle Johanna, according to Johanna. Maja then came to help Johanna and grabbed Tove's arm so that she was not able to fight back. Johanna then grabbed Tove's throat and pushed for 10 seconds until Tove started tweaking and coughing. Tove's tongue was sticking out from her mouth and she made a strange noise, and at some point it got quiet and they realized that Tove was not breathing anymore. What baffles me the most is that none of them tried to help Tove even when they realized that she was not breathing anymore. Like, they were just sitting on the floor for minutes and even cleaning up the crime scene, but none of them thought to call 911 or anything. But this was Johanna's version of events, and Maya, on the other hand, still claimed that she was sleeping during the whole time that this was going on, as she had been drinking and throwing up from feeling bad. So basically, Johanna claimed that they both took a part in the murder, while Maya claims that only Johanna had a part in it. And honestly, it's hard to tell which one is lying, but I do feel like it's a bit unlikely that she slept through all of this, since even neighbors came to knock the door from the sounds. Another contradicting thing is that Maya claimed that she woke up to go to the toilet, but Tove's body would have been in the toilet, so how could she not have seen that? The girls had then planned to hide Tove's bike, but Johanna ran into her neighbor who asked why they had been so noisy, so she made up the whole McDonald's thing. During the time that Johanna went to McDonald's, Tove was laying dead on Johanna's bathroom floor. Johanna and Maya both describe Johanna as the dominant one when it came to the aftermath of the murder. When Johanna came home from McDonald's, she first hid Tove's bike and belongings, and they then carried Tove's body out to the car. Johanna knew this place in the forest, and she was the one who dragged Tove's body out to the location where they left the body. Before leaving the body, Johanna poured liquid onto the body and she tried to set Tove on fire. She said herself that if she died, she would like to be cremated, almost like she had so much empathy for Tove that she did something nice to her. The investigators also found a hate song written for Tove and her sister from Johanna. In this song, Johanna called Tove and her sister sluts and said that they need therapy, which shows that there was a lot of hate from Johanna towards Tove for seemingly no reason at all. Maja also told in questioning that around half year before the murder, Johanna told Maja that she wanted to burn Tove and her sister, so she tried to get Maja with her to commit arson, basically. Maja did not want this, so Johanna went alone and tried to set their house on fire, but she failed. Apart from that, Johanna also had some questionable Google searches, for example, murder someone discreet and best revenge for a narcissist. So the trial against Johanna and Maja actually recently ended, and I was waiting for it to end so that I could include their sentences in this video. There is some new information that came up in the trial that I also want to mention. Tove's boyfriend said in the trial that he did not want Tove to go to Johanna's apartment that night as he did not trust her. He also said that Tove was afraid of Johanna, and according to him, their arguments had started after Tove had a relationship with a man that Johanna had previously dated. Johanna and Maja had also tried to get into Tove's apartment one time before after Tove had mentioned in front of Johanna's ex that Johanna had cheated on him. Maja said in the trial that the days after the murder, Johanna was happy and seemed proud of what she had done. Maja overall seemed genuinely upset during the trial, while Johanna sounded almost like she was faking her emotions, in my opinion. Both Johanna and Maja denied murdering Tove, but claimed that they did hide her body. So Johanna and Maja were recently sentenced to life in prison for the murder of 21-year-old Tove. They have, however, both stated that they will appeal the sentences. So, in my opinion, it's pretty clear what happened. I mean, Johanna had literally tried to kill Tove before, so maybe she just wanted some kind of twisted revenge. And maybe it went too far, or maybe it was the plan all along, but it ended in Tove's death. I'm pretty sure that Johanna was the dominant one when it came to the whole murder, but I do believe that Maja took a part in it, and I mean, she did help to hide the body instead of just calling the police. In the end, Tove did not deserve what happened to her, and I just hope that Tove's family and her friends and her boyfriend feel a bit better knowing that at least they were sentenced to life in prison, even if I know that that will never truly take away their pain. But that's all that I have for this case. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that I will see you in my next case. Goodbye, everyone.